Uh, European leaders or European spokespeople and Jacob Rees-Mogg have both scoffed and dismissed the idea that Keir Starmer wants to have a deal with Europe and has got a deal in place, or at least in principle. Uh, the Times says that Europe will only consider this once it's solved its own problem, uh, and Downing Street is presenting the solution as meaning that we're going to be taking significantly more migrants into the country under Starmer's plans. I think Starmer's plans are actually the only way forward. Uh, there may be another way, but so far it hasn't been advanced. The Rwanda uh, approach, the deterrent approach, doesn't work. Number one, it doesn't work on many levels. First of all, it's immoral, and it's depending on a country which has a proven track record of treating refugees badly. Secondly, it's transferring our responsibility to a third country, which I think is questionable. And thirdly, it's linked to a laziness on the part of the Home Office. Number one, to process the applications already in the system, and number two, to uh, to manage our own affairs. So I think on many levels, it needs to the suella braverman approach is simply wrong, and it needs to go. What it's replaced with is a much bigger question. The Starmer proposal is an interesting proposal and is a version of what should have been in place at the time when Brexit was agreed. But because of the twits who were involved in the negotiation, that wasn't there. Nobody seemed to have thought about a continuation of the Dublin 3 protocol, a development of the Schengen Agreement, because that's effectively what it is. And meanwhile, the northern states in Europe are going to have to brace themselves and recognize that they're going to have to take their fair share of refugees. The richer countries need to take refugees who are coming into Europe through the ports in the poorer countries, through Greece, through Turkey, through Spain. The countries like Germany particularly need to share that burden, and and to give these people an opportunity to contribute to the wider public life. And I think adding Britain to that group, adding Ireland to that group, spreads the weight and eases that burden and gives us all an opportunity, because bringing new people into the country is an opportunity in itself. Now, to say that everybody who comes to the UK through the over the Channel is automatically sent back to Europe, that would be reasonable if there is a European-wide process of uh, dealing with refugee claims. Uh, the I think it's not simply a matter of having Nightingale courts in the UK. The Nightingale court system needs to be spread across the whole of Europe. This is a European response rather than a British response. I think we should even go further than that. This should be a global response. And part of that is about redefining the 1951 Refugee Convention. So it then becomes a matter of an organization or a series of super international bodies controlling where refugees are eventually housed. And that will be a complicated bureaucratic system, if that is the one which is likely to be most efficacious. I think it probably is. How that will pan out, I don't know, but that's the direction I think we're going and the Rwanda scheme is a blip and a mistake on every possible level. It's not in line with the general international discussion, and it's already imitating two programs from other countries, one of which has completely failed. That's the Israeli program. And the other one, the Australian program, was widely condemned, but was successful. However, it was predicated on significantly different a significantly different material situation than the one that we face. The Australia is surrounded by a significant ocean, and we are surrounded by a very, very tiny, or we are divided from Europe by a very, very tiny stretch of water, a very busy stretch of water, but it's far from the oceanic situation in which Australia finds itself. So many, many differences, a few similarities, but not enough similarities to justify reproducing the Australian system, or indeed the Israeli system, in perpetuity in the UK, particularly when there's so much doubt legally about, number one, the choice of Rwanda, and number two, the nature of the 1951 European Convention, of which we are still signatories, and getting rid of the European Court, getting rid of the people who might pronounce against our decisions, is not a solution. Just simply silencing the people who are criticizing us, that is never a solution, is it really? I mean, that's just, I'm not listening, I'm not listening, I'm not listening, I'm going to hold my breath until you shut up. How ridiculous is that? That is the preferred option of people like Suella Braverman. You know, what can you say about that? Just grow up, get out of the playground, get into the classroom and start doing some real work, Suella.